folks, and welcome back to the Armor's Block, which is brought to you by Blue Coat Arms Company. No matter your era, we got your six. Your family-operated, full-service gunsmith shop right here in Central Illinois.
Whether you're a long-time listener or you're brand new, we're glad you're here. Tonight, we're talking about something that sounds boring, right up until it breaks your gun at the worst possible time.
I'm Hootie, founder and lead gunsmith at Blue Coat Arms Company. I'm the shop wrangler, the guy who gets lost in the details and the one who will absolutely stop mid-sentence to stare at a part and go, well, that's not right.
And I'm Lydia. I run the back end of the shop, scheduling customer updates, keeping the wheels on the wagon, and, making sure Hootie eats food and doesn't live in the shop full time.
We want this to feel like you're hanging out with us after hours. So, go ahead, grab a chair, grab a beer, kick up your feet, and listen to us for what we're learning, what we're fixing, and what we're messing up, but what we're doing to get better. Alright, tonight's topic is firearm maintenance. Now, we're not talking internet perfection maintenance, and I'm also not talking about, I watched a 30-second reel and now I'm in armor. Just real practical stuff.
You mean like the gun that we currently have sitting on the bench right now that is in pieces?
That came in a box because somebody watched a YouTube video about how to modify their gun? Yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is the one thing you don't want to do, people. And, we're saying this with love. Maintenance is not optional. Just, make sure you know what you're doing.
Yes, maintenance ain't optional. You can pay someone to do it, or you can devote the time to doing it yourself. But either way, sooner or later, it's gonna happen because your gun will eventually give up.
And if you don't believe him, we've actually got a couple more examples sitting in the shop right now. So we're working on a Remington 11 shotgun restoration right now, and I have started lovingly calling it the car gun.
She did, and it stuck, even with the kids.
Well, because this thing is so badly lubricated that it actually gave me flashbacks to the beaters that I used to see come into my old job, like the ones that have clearly missed about 6 oil changes or more. And, are running on hopes and bad decisions.
That's the thing with these. Guns are machines. They're a different kind of machine. There's different stakes, but it's the same reality. Neglect on maintenance catches up.
And the wild part is most people don't neglect on purpose. They just simply don't have a system.
Speaking of systems, I've got to share this because it's the most Blue Coat Arms thing I've ever seen. So last weekend, KJ and Christian were here for our weekends that we get them. And no, we were in the shop, and while I was working, they started playing Gun Shop.
Which sounds really cute, and it was, but it was also scarily accurate.
So KJ decided that she was going to be the service rider or the counter person, and Christian was the customer and also the gunsmith. And at one point, I think he might have also been the entire U.S. military procurement office.
Talk about a one-man show.
So over the course of an hour, they started off with cleanings and servicing and just some simple repairs. But then as time went on, they started taking jobs over the phone for building military prototype rifles all the way up to a museum calling to see if we could restore and preserve a bullet that was shot by George Washington.
I am not saying that we're taking that job because I'm pretty sure it's nigh impossible to do that, but I am saying the kids kind of understand the vibe around here a little more than we probably realize.
But hey, it ties into maintenance because what we're really doing in the shop, whether it's a modern carry gun or an old shotgun, is trying to keep these tools alive, keep the history going, and also keep people safe. So, let's dive into a maintenance framework that's not overwhelming. So here is the way that I tend to think about general maintenance. Step 1, do a safety check. Make sure that the firearm is cleared. Step 2, clean what matters. Every time you're going to take a brush or cleaning solvent to a firearm, the main areas that you want to focus on are the bore, the chamber, the bolt, the slide face, feed path, the high intensity areas. Inspect while you clean. Springs, pins, cracks, weird wear, because all of this will eventually add up if you're not paying attention. Step 4, lubricate correctly. Not too much, not too little, and always make sure that you use the right product for where you live. Because again, going back to the car analogy, different gun oils have different viscosities. So if you tend to live in a warmer place or a colder place, or if you're going to go on an Arctic hunt or African safari, like, these are all choices that are going to mean the world to your gun and your experience with it. Last step, step 5. Store it like you actually want it to work later.
And if you're listening and thinking, I don't even know what half of these words mean, that's okay. I am right there with you. I'm still learning all of these myself. But the goal is to build a routine that you can repeat and understand on the go.
Common mistakes that we see. So one of the easiest ways to accidentally hurt accuracy is cleaning the wrong way. And I will also add cleaning too much.
Who knew there was a right way and a wrong way to clean something, right?
So if you can, you should always clean from the breech. For those of you that don't know, the breech is where the ammunition is loaded into the barrel. So it is the back end of the firearm. If you have to go from the muzzle, which is sometimes the case, especially with older firearms, make sure that you go slow and always use a guide. The guide will keep everything straight and it'll give you less problems. And I will also say it for the record, those cheap sectioned cleaning rods, flex and bow, they can rub the bore and your rifling and do more damage than good over time.
Translation, don't turn your firearm cleaning rod into a file, because you don't want to do that to the inside of your gun.
No. Going back to what I was saying about cleaning too much. A lot of people will use too abrasive of a cleaner. And if you do that when it's not warranted and you do it on a routine basis, you are actually wearing down the rifling in the barrel sooner than anticipated.
Going back to the car analogy again, it's kind of like changing out your transmission fluid before you should.
Oh.
Or after you should. Because after a while you should not do that either. But that's not the case with guns, so.
Yeah. Now, for most normal cleaning, phosphorus bronze brushes are the move. A lot of people ask about stainless brushes. Stainless brushes are good to have on hand, but that is for truly neglected stuff. And even then, you have to know what you're doing, because aggressive tools create aggressive problems. Most oftentimes with the chemicals that we have in the shop, I will use phosphorus bronze brushes, copper brushes, because copper and the bronze brushes are more malleable than the steel that is in your gun. So the brush is going to take more of the brunt than your receiver or the part that we're working on. Nylon brushes will also work just fine if you are using the right chemicals and cleaning at the right time. If you are a person on a budget who is trying to maintain your firearm, an old toothbrush works just fine. I got a whole bunch of them on my bench. Like, they do the job.
Just make sure all your old toothpaste is cleaned off of them first.
Yes, there is that.
I feel like this next one surprises a lot of people. So long-term storage in a case is a common case for rust buildup.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is one that we usually get just about every month. At least one person will come in with a rusty gun or will even ask about storage. And it always leads back to they have a foam lined case. Whether it's a soft case or a hard case, they are storing their firearms in the cases and packing them away into a closet instead of buying a gun safe or having proper storage. Now, again, if you are on a budget, totally understandable, especially if you have kids, because the more layers between the firearm and the kids until you can get them properly educated and trained, the better. The problem is, though, foam lined cases are a moisture trap. If you have to use a case temporarily, you should leave it cracked open so that it can breathe. So the foam traps moisture, and then when you zip it up or latch it up, that moisture has nowhere to go except the metal that's on your gun. And then it becomes worse than an Illinois politician. Next thing we're going to talk about is lube. So over-lubing is real. Too much oil turns into sludge, grabs dust, and gums up actions.
And that's how you get car gun to the point of looking like a diesel engine.
Exactly. What you really want is a thin, purposeful film where it matters. Under-lubing is also a thing to watch out for because that will create premature wear and can lead to part failure and, in extreme cases, temperance loss over time. You can actually kill a spring without breaking it by not lubing it properly because it will get too hot and then it will lose its tension.
I actually did not know that.
Science!
The more you know.
Speaking of springs, a lot of folks have heard that you are not supposed to keep your magazines loaded.
I've heard that
for
one.
long periods of time. The truth is a little more nuanced. So springs usually wear from cycling, not just sitting. You are going to wear a spring out way faster by using the same magazine all the time than you are by just letting it sit. But cheap springs and old springs or questionable magazines can absolutely cause speeding issues. I have literally seen dramatic examples of both. I have had new magazines that weren't tempered at the factory correctly that caused problems right out of the box. And we have also seen antique 1911s come in that probably had ammunition in it from World War II that sat in some grandpa's closet, and magazine functions just fine.
So what I'm hearing from all this is that the practical advice is to, if it's meant to be a defense gun, test your mags no matter if they're new, old, sitting somewhere loaded or unloaded, and just mark the ones that act weird and don't trust your life with a mystery.
Exactly.
And from the customer side, what I usually see is people wait until something feels off, and then by that time they come in, they're stressed, they're not sure what's going on, and usually by that point it's a lot bigger of a problem than it should be. So if you are not sure if something is feeling the way that it should, ask early. There is no shame in saying, hey, I don't know what is normal. I don't know if it is supposed to feel this way. It is okay to ask.
Yeah, I was going to say, we would much rather answer what you feel like is a dumb question than have to tell you that this repair is going to be more than what your gun is worth.
Yes.
So, if you take nothing else from this episode, I want you to do this. Pick one day a month as maintenance day. If you are someone like us who has a plethora collection of your own, You don't have to do them all the one day a month. You can cycle through 3, 4, 5, like whatever. But you should pick one day a month as maintenance day, especially if you are a concealed carry holder. Because if you are going to rely on this tool to save your life or the life of a loved one, you need to take the time to make sure it's maintained properly so that it functions properly.
Say, and as the person that has most recently cleaned Hootie's concealed carry, make sure that, when you put it away, it's not covered in sweat. Because, that's how rust happens.
I'm a big boy and I like steel guns. But anyway. But no, so pick one day a month as maintenance day. On this day, you are going to do a quick wipe down and inspection. Most of the time, that's it. Unless you have shot the gun, which, again, if you're a concealed carry holder, I would hope that you're shooting at least once a month. But no, if you got a gun, a nightstand gun, let's say, and you haven't fired it, all it really needs is a quick wipe down to make sure that you are keeping it clean and that there's not hand oil or moisture or anything on it that is going to cause rust or problems. Give it a quick inspection. Cycle it a couple of times. If it's a revolver, open it up. The other thing that you can do is function check it. So go ahead and unload and clear the firearm, rack the slide, work the hammer. If it is a modern gun that is safe to dry fire it a couple of times. Make sure that everything feels good. And then if it's a carry gun, make sure that you are also confirming that your magazines are behaving. So one of the easiest ways to do that is you can go to Shields, Brownells, Midway, lots of firearm chains that sell tools will have dummy rounds. So you can load your magazine up with 3 or 4 dummy rounds and just dry cycle the gun. Make sure that the rounds are ejecting. Make sure that, you're seeing little scratch marks on where the firing pin would be hitting the primer. Like, there's tons of cheap and easy things that you can do at home to make sure that your guns are functioning properly.
And if you're storing stuff, especially here in the Midwest where the humidity swings like Mother Nature is constantly on PMS, just don't toss it in a case and forget about it to where the insides are going to just soak up all the humidity and rust your gun.
Yeah, and there, again, tons of products that can be used for stuff like that. If you're on a budget, again, we have advice for you. My advice to you, save all of those silica gel packets that come in the shit that you order from Amazon. Put those in your gun case. It does help. Again, going back to most gunsmithing stores or places like Shields or Farm and Home or whatever, most of those guys also sell silica gel products for firearm storage. They're canisters that are filled with beads that you can stick in your gun safe or your closet. Best part is it's reusable. Once it has collected too much moisture, you can toss it in your oven to dry it, and then you can reuse it.
So, another quick shop/community update that we have. This week I launched a 14-day mini challenge on our school community.
Yep. So. And we've had some engagement with it. If you are not part of our school community, we hope that you will join us there. And we are also excited to announce that we are actively writing our first class for folks to sign up and take. So we are currently in the throes of writing a intro to gunsmithing, where we are going to teach you guys the basics of cleaning, proper storage, black powder, all kinds of things. So we hope that you join us there.
So if you've been wanting a simple, structured way to build these skills, get a little bit more in depth than we are here, even without feeling overwhelmed or judged or anything like that. That's what we're building here, and we are really excited to get this going.
So, speaking of school, got a little bit of homework for everybody who is listening. So, question of the week, and I expect to see comments and stories on this.
Question is, what's the worst maintenance mistake you've made? Or the best maintenance habit that you swear by?
Drop it in the comments, message us, or post it in the school community. And if you want to make sure that we get it, start your message with Armor so that we know that it was for the podcast and not something else.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you need help with a project, need a repair, or you've got a gun that's starting to feel like it missed an oil change or several, we can help.
No matter your era, we got your six. We'll see you next time on